As I mentioned before, the fact that the game's controls are unreliable after you purchase an additional accessory is sort of not good, to understate things completely. Luckily, the game comes with a soundtrack, if someone decides to ship it for you, that is. I'm unsure the use of Farah, having not played the game myself. Hopefully she's not as intrusive as Navi, which I'll address in another vid. It's actually being underrated how annoying Navi is. However, explaining the goddess chest after already being introduced to them while being repetitive isn't the first time it's happened in a game. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a good design. Just from my experience, I've kind of gotten used to it, and it sort of dulled me. Although there's no doubt the experience will be enhanced with a helper or companion that is optional for giving tips, in addition to only giving reminders about what the controls are for those who have forgotten them. Gyro Bow. Motion controls that make no sense. With what MatthewMatosis said, it would have been interesting had they made two separate games with the Sand Sea and the Clouds. The inventory system would be interesting, with the purchases you make. Some stuff never having to be equipped is an improvement over prior games. The emphasis of technology is seen with many of the goddess things, and the time warp, and the shifting lands, or transforming lands, I forget what we call it. Lightning effects are like in Galaxy with the goddess harp. The harp is a lazy instrument, according to MatthewMatosis. I wonder what he thought about the bird as a companion. The flying is beautiful, although I imagine people getting tired of it, and pacing can be an issue, as often with the 3D Zeldas, where there's not a lot of action involved. Finding Q should be better paced. The prison looks like a cool monster, and same with the monster that you can use to attack itself. His exploration of the Wiimote was very good. The problem with not having the default position for motion controls is well stated. Galactos seems like an interesting boss, and indeed a highlight of any game series. Although I do debate compared to MatthewMatosis that accessibility was a factor in addition. On to the part 2 where I re-examine the video and study it even more intensely. This is my commentary on the MatthewMatosis Skyward Sword video after rewatching it the second time. The reuse of places seems like an annoying version of Ocarina of Time hand-holding. I really didn't like it in Ocarina of Time, and it being in an advanced Legend of Zelda game seems to make it worse. To make things worse, Ocarina of Time actually had different worlds created in the reuses. Same with Link to the Past with the Dark World. The Ocarina of Time had Adult Link. I hated rolling an Ocarina, so a running stamina game is something I look forward to, even if it is flawed according to MatthewMatosis. The reuse of locations has been done before in games such as Phantasy Star Online and MMOs, where games reuse footage and then program around it. It's something I don't like, and it sounds like what I disliked about Ocarina, according to MatthewMatosis. The storyline payoffs seem to lack, and this is coming from someone who even didn't like the storyline payoffs for Red Ring Rico and Phantasy Star Online. There's 7 dungeons, unlocks. The time shift stones seem interesting, and I wish I played them to figure out a little bit more about them in the game. They could be very interesting. Something I have to explore. According to MatthewMatosis, the mini games are more interesting than the side quests. I think that he said the side quests were like fetch quests or something, while the mini games were actually pretty interesting, even though he sure doesn't like this game. A boss rush mode should definitely be included in every Zelda game. I would love it in Ocarina of Time, where I could fight Bongo Bongo and the Water Temple boss and Phantom Ganon and Ganon. That'd be awesome. There's storyline interesting stuff, such as the Mai's being imprisoned by Zelda, with Zelda being sacrificed, sort of. It'd be interesting if it was sort of portrayed as like a Legend of Zelda or something, but This is a bit of a spoiler for if I ever make a Zelda game, which is very doubtful. I mean, I guess they do sort of do the changing worlds thing with the later time shift stones and the unlocking of places and stuff with the technologies of the goddesses. It could be an interesting adaptation of the Dark World or Adult Link, but I don't know, MatthewMatosis didn't really make that connection. I gotta rewatch myself. Replay myself. Skyward Sword serves as a prelude to the rest of the series. Faura is in the Master Sword the whole time it's revealed. Zelda being revealed as the goddess Hylia doesn't really connect with the rest of the series, and is only introduced in this game, which is again why Nintendo should probably market it as an alternate reality thing instead of a set timeline, which is how I feel like it is. So like James Bond and other things. It's so weird how they have a Link and a Zelda, but they don't have a Ganondorf, even though he's basically Ganondorf. Minish Cap. Plug for Echolarg's review of Minish Cap. Ezlo was interesting. Link not having a hat, definitely having an origin to it. That would be interesting if they ever put that in the timeline. Or acknowledge it, or make it more concrete in canon. Pretty cool.